Hello everyone, I hope you all are doing great. And today again we will look into a problem from HackerEarth. So let's dive into it. Okay, we are given two arrays A and B. In each step, you can set AI equals to AI minus BI. Note I is index of that list. Okay, that means AI is ith index of A. Similarly, BI is ith index of B. And we can do this operation only if AI is greater than equal to BI. What we need to do is we need to determine the minimum number of steps that are required to make all A's equal. We need to do this, okay? Which means if there is a list, suppose this is A and we have anything, and there is B, we have B like this. We will be subtracting these elements, okay, and we need to make a something like this. You can say like this, okay. We need to make all the elements equal. So let's read the input format now. Input format says first line we are given is n will be of course length of both lists, okay. Second line will be the elements of list A, and third line will be elements of list B. What's the output format? We need to print the minimum number of steps. So we need to calculate the minimum number of steps, okay, that are required to make all A's equal. If it is not possible, then print -1, okay. It's saying if we perform the subtraction if we perform subtraction one time, then this will be step 1. Okay. If we perform this to second element, it will be 2. So what's the constant now? Constant is all are positive. Okay, greater than 0. Now let's see an example. Okay, we are given an example. Okay, we are given n, the length of both lists. We are given a and we are given b. Let's try to solve this manually. We are given 5, 7, 10, 5, and 15. Let's write B with another color. 2, 3, 5. Let's try to solve this. Our first intuition will be to subtract each element. Okay, and we know the condition. We will subtract each element until this condition is false. Okay, so we can see this is our first intuition. And I will tell you why it is incorrect. You can skip this part if you don't want to see the incorrect, but still, for understanding purpose, we will look into this algorithm. Okay, we know 5 is greater than 2, so here answer will be 3, 5, 9, 2, and 10. Again, we need to subtract it from list B. I will write it again. So this is what we need to do in our code. Okay, our B won't change, but our A will change. And we need to change A until all the elements are equal. So now here it's 1, it's 3, 8. See this. Here the condition is false. So 2 will be as it is, and here 5. Let's do this again. This time it will be, see, here also the condition is false. So 1 will come as it is, 1. Here 7. See this? It's repeated. 2 and it's 0. We can clearly see that this won't change now. Okay. And This and this will also not change. Only this will change. This will also not change. So we know this may end up to 1, say, but these elements are not equal. Since we can't change these elements now, therefore, it is not possible to make all the elements of A equal to each other. Okay, so let's check what the answer is given. We can see answer here given is 8, which means this algorithm is incorrect. So what's the correct algorithm? Let's look into it. Now let's see the correct algorithm. This is our second approach. Okay. Here, what we will do is we'll find a minimum value from list A. So here, what's the minimum value? We can see it's 5. Okay. We will try to make each element equal to the minimum value. Okay. So let's try to do operations on it. Since 5 is already minimum, we won't be operating on it. This is 7. Okay, we will do 5, 9. Again, here it's minimum, so we won't do the operation. And here it's 10. Okay, again, we need to operate on it. Hmm, 1 second. Okay, so now again, here minimum in this list is 5. So no change, no change. 8, no change, and 5. We can see here each element is equal to each other except this. But also this is subtracted by 1 only. Therefore, it will eventually end up to 5. Okay. So let's count the number of steps. Let's count the number of steps. Here we didn't operate on it. Here we did. It's 1, 2, 3, then 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. We can see this this was the answer we got. Okay. Let's try to do with different values. Let me clear it. Okay, so instead of 2, I will be replacing it by 3. Okay, I'm just replacing one element. Let me use different color pen. Here, I changed it with 3. Okay, here it was 2 initially. Let's try to change this list. Here the minimum is 5. So we will not operate on this. This is 5 and this is 4, 9, 5, and 10. This time the minimum of this list is 4 and the values of B is this. Let's try to operate on it again. This time is 4. Okay, so we need to operate on it. This 3, this is 1, this is 8, 2, and this is 5. This time the minimum is 1. Okay, let me write elements of P again. Okay. So since the minimum is 1, we have to operate on this. It's 1. This is already it doesn't satisfy two condition. It's also less than BI and also this is minimum. So no operation. 7. This is less than 3, so no operation. And this is 0. We see these two elements didn't change and it won't change even further. Okay, therefore it is impossible to make all elements of A equal to each other. Okay, it's not possible. So now let's look into code. So here I have already written the code. I will just explain it to you. If you want, you can skip this part or you can try to code it by yourself. So let's see what I did here. Our first line is I took the input. Let me change the color. First is I took the input. Okay, that's the length. This is the length. These are the elements of A and elements of P. Okay. Uh, what I have done here is since our input will be like this, right? There are spaces between them, and this is one string. That's why first I'll take the input from the user, then I'll split it on the basis of space. Okay, this will create a list. This will create a list of elements. But what will happen is every element of this list will be string. That's why I ran a for loop within this and changed typecast into integer. Therefore, it will be a normal list of integers. Okay, let me erase it. Erase this. Okay, and similarly, I did this for B. Here, I initialized a variable called steps, which will count the number of steps we performed. Okay, and now what we did is we ran a while loop. Okay, because we don't know how much this is indeterminate. We know this. If we don't know how many times we need to run a loop, then we use a while loop. But why this condition? Why this condition? Okay, we know the condition, initial condition was AI should be greater than BI. Okay, this means if what is this? Okay, this condition is true, right? If we subtract 3 minus 2, it will be 1. Okay, which means every time if A is greater than B, then our solution will always be positive. Okay, and here this is what I mean. If our solution is always positive, that means this condition was met. Okay, let me erase it and write it in another words beside it. Okay, so here this means AI is greater than equal to BI. We can write the statement to this. Okay, now what we will do is we'll save the minimum of a list we saw in the algorithm. We'll save into a variable because we need to use it again. Now what we will do is we will operate on each element. Now we will run a for loop because we know this time how many times the loop will run. It will run n times. Okay. So if the element at ith index is not equal to minimum. Okay, we saw this. We saw this. When we saw into algorithm, if we encountered an element which was equal to minimum, we didn't operate on it, right? So that's why if we didn't encounter an element which is the minimum, then we need to subtract it. We are doing this what we were asked for. Okay, and if we are doing this, we need to increase the number of count by 1. Okay, uh, uh, loop will run. Okay, it will run once through this entire list and then it will check. Here I have written set of A. What is set? Set is a data structure. Okay. Set is a data structure which doesn't allow repetitive values, which means it has only unique values. If we were successful in converting these elements and made them equal, which means each element of set is equal, but since repetitive values are not allowed, therefore there will be only one element in this set. And that's what I have written len of set of A is equal to 1, which means it has only one unique element. Okay, so if this condition is met, which means we were successful in converting each element, then we have to print our steps. This will be our answer, and we need to break out of our while loop. And if we were not successful in our task, and how we know that we were not successful? Suppose we tried to subtract it by bi, okay, and we tried it multiple times, and at one time our AI was less than bi, which means it resulted in a negative value. They, then this condition is false, and it will go to our else. And since we were unsuccessful, therefore it will print -1, which says it's impossible to convert each element. Okay, so this was the code. You can try by yourself. Okay, you can try by yourself. I've already checked it. This is the correct answer. This is the correct code. So I hope you enjoyed this video and learned something from it. Keep practicing, and we'll see you in the next one.